Just live your life, or choose to choose. Understand that the right to choose your own path is a sacred privilege. Use it. Dwell in possibilities. Oprah Winfrey. Lately, I've noticed that a lot of conversations about dealing with the stresses of modern life seem to conclude with someone advising that we should all stop worrying so much and trying so hard, that we should go with the flow and just live our life. Sometimes this is good advice, as many things are beyond our control and worrying about them will not make any difference. And we can often be so focused on the future that we miss out on all there is to enjoy in the present moment. But this advice has a serious downside. Just live your life can lead us to turn our back on our most sacred privilege, our ability to choose our own path. In the guise of freeing us from stress and struggle, just live your life can actually have the sinister effect of preventing us from making the most of our life. When the injunction to just live our life becomes a license not to choose, we end up being pulled along by others' choices, simply behaving the way we always have in the past, passively reacting to life rather than actively creating the life that we really want to be living. To make the most of our life, we must first of all choose to choose. This is the fundamental choice underlying all other choices. We must commit ourselves to the idea that there are far more possibilities than we normally see, and then to the effort that it takes to examine these possibilities and choose the one that is best for us. At some point, almost all of us have had the feeling of being trapped. We may hate working for an impossible boss who doesn't respect us, but because we need that paycheck, and this is a lousy time to be job searching, we feel we have no choice but to stay. We may be in a relationship with a partner from whom we have long felt alienated, or who we no longer love, or who treats us badly. But we stay because we are terrified of being alone. There are other ways of feeling trapped as well. We may think things are actually going quite well in our life, personally and professionally, and yet we have the feeling that something important is missing. We may realize that, objectively, we have a lot to be grateful for, and yet feel that this realization is not enough, because nothing seems to excite or inspire us any longer. Whether by our negative circumstances or even by our good fortune, we feel trapped and cannot see a way out. It is at such moments, when we feel trapped, that we must choose to choose, that we must commit ourselves to looking for new ways to change our life, to finding within ourselves the keys that will unlock the doors of the prison we are trapped in. This is the time to recognize that while objective constraints may, at least in part, shape our life, the trap has at least something to do with our own mindset as well. Paths are almost always open to us, small or large changes we can introduce to improve our situation. Choosing to choose means searching for the paths that lead to change. Recognize the power of choosing to choose. Sit yourself down to reflect, to analyze, to think about the possibilities that are open to you. Ask yourself some difficult questions. What do I have to do for my life to be the way I want it to be? Where do I want to go? How do I intend to get there? Write about your options. Discuss your situation with those you trust. Refuse to accept "I have no choice" as an answer. Choosing to choose is not easy. It requires not only effort, but also courage. It is about being deliberate and strategic instead of just going with the flow. It is about charting unknown paths instead of resigning yourself to the road already taken. It is about being willing to struggle and fail, rather than succumbing to the comfort of the safe and the familiar. Choosing to choose does not guarantee a solution to the feeling of being trapped or to any other difficulty that you may be facing, but it is the mindset that increases the likelihood of finding a solution. the mindset that is required of you if you are to realize more of your potential for success and happiness. So, what will it be? Do you just live your life and passively resign to your predicament? Or do you choose and actively create the kind of life that you want for yourself? That is the choice that you have at every moment. A choice that is a prerequisite for taking advantage of the choices that are ahead of you in this book, and of the many more that can help you create the life you want. Overlook life's treasures, or be mindful of the wonder. Those who dwell among the beauties and mysteries of the earth are never alone or weary of life. Rachel Carson. What we see in the world around us is to a large extent a matter of choice. Do we take time every day to really look at things? To find the beauty or the humor or the charm or the mystery in them? When riding the bus to work, do we stare aimlessly out the window? Or do we make an effort to look at the color of the sky, the shapes of the clouds? Do we look closely enough to allow ourselves to be delighted by the funny little dog trotting along the sidewalk? Or to feel sympathy or admiration or sadness when we watch an elderly woman walking slowly and carefully out her front door? It is natural to be preoccupied by our own thoughts, or to be lulled into not noticing all that is around us while we do routine errands. And there is nothing wrong in daydreaming from time to time. But the more we can be mindful of what we are doing as we are doing it, the healthier and happier we will be. Mindfulness is a choice, and it is something we can practice. When our mind wanders, whether while eating, doing the dishes, writing a report, or walking to our car, we can gently shift our focus back to the wonders that are everywhere to be found. The best advice that I can think of for becoming more mindful is to read and reread Helen Keller's essay, 3 Days to See. Keller, who lost her sight and hearing when she was 19 months old as a result of an illness, writes about what she would do if she were given back the use of these senses for just 3 days. In the essay, she recounts a conversation she had with a friend who returned from an hour-long walk in the woods. Keller asks her friend what she saw, and the friend replies, "Nothing in particular." Keller wonders how it is possible to walk through the woods and yet see nothing worthy of note. I who am blind can give one hint to those who see, one admonition to those who would make full use of the gift of sight. Use your eyes as if tomorrow you would be stricken blind. Hear the music of voices, the song of a bird, the mighty strains of an orchestra, as if you would be stricken deaf tomorrow. Touch each object you want to touch as if tomorrow your tactile sense would fail. Smell the perfume of flowers, taste with relish each morsel, as if tomorrow you could never smell and taste again. Make the most of every sense, glory, and all the facets of pleasure and beauty which the world reveals to you. Sometimes all we need to do is open our senses and take in the wonders of the world. Helen Keller, despite her inability to hear or see, can remind us of how privileged we are to be able to directly experience the most precious treasures that are around us and within us: sights and sounds, tastes and textures, smells and sensations. Chapter 3. React in anger, or take a step back. Anyone can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, this is not easy. Aristotle. Crimes of passion are common. We've all heard about the sudden violent outbursts of normal people who lose control, who lose themselves in the heat of the moment, and are later filled with regret. Thankfully, most of us can curb our powerful emotions, and we do not actually follow through and kill the person we feel like killing.